Hello, and welcome to the CUP Ringside, part of the CUP Network, where we give you the best seat in the house on almost all things wrestling, mostly things WWE, period. Um, I am your girl Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Yeet.
Yeet.
And I'm just drinking some water because hydration is important. So drink you some water, yeet. And
Yeet.
what I do have close by me always is my cup mug.
Cup mug.
Period, and period. And you can get your cup mug or any of our cup merch at lanagscreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And we do ship internationally and domestically. So there are no excuses unless your country is on fire or you're in a war torn country. Then there are some excuses. But after all that's over, reward yourself with some cup merch. Yeet.
And I am the guy who spends his day wondering how many Taylor Swift fans think that WWE has finally created a PLE in homage to one of her most mediocre songs, Bad Blood, coming up this weekend, next weekend,
Next week.
and after. Your boy, Topher.
Lord have mercy. Topher, you're losing it. You're losing it on the intros.
I
don't
thought
know.
I spent all day thinking about it. I spent all day thinking about this one. I thought it was good.
No.
It's like, and now we have Bad Blood. You know, Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, Steel Cage Deathmatch.
Jesus. Okay.
And before we get the new Taylor Swift theme pay-per-view, let's see, what's a terrible song of hers? White Horse, is that a Taylor Swift song? That feels like a Taylor Swift song title.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hi,
Scooter
everybody.
Brown in a cage, hanging above the ring.
A shark cage, if you will. So, hi everybody, it's Brooke, your reigning defending queen of the cup. It is a pleasure to be in your presence once again. I am currently drinking some water because hydration is very important. And also on top of that, after last night, I have been left dying of thirst from eating too much.
I yeeted all over my. I yeeted all over myself. Just saying.
Fair.
It happens. It happens. It happens.
Mood. But yeah, we had a very interesting week in the world of professional wrestling, and I'm really excited to talk about that week in the world of professional wrestling, including, but not limited to, Raw, SmackDown, and everything in between.
Absolutely. But before we do all of any of that, I will say, join our channel. You hear this channel. We're excited to be here today because we're excited for all the stuff we get to talk about this weekend because this week in wrestling has been amazing, and we've been holding on to all of this news since last week. We were like, oh, we want to come and talk about it, but we had to get here. So we got some really great stuff that we want to talk to you about. But join this channel, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell because we are here every week giving you content every week about a week in reps, a week in WWE, a week in wrestling, period. And so join this channel, and we are part of a network. So we have 3 other channels. We would love for you to join us at, if you are a fan of Eurovision, Song Contest, uh, competition reality television, and drag race or drag television. We have 3 channels there ready for you. So hit the link in the description below. Click on all of our podcast links, subscribe and follow and share all of that. Also, our audio podcast links are down there as well, so you can check us out on the go, as well as our Patreon. So you can join our Patreon to get early access content and exclusive content from all 4 channels. So join our Patreon as well, and follow us on all of our socials at the Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok because we are trying to do more on our social media, and we would love you to join us there. So join us on all of our socials. Period. Let's get into it because we got some stuff to talk about. My first thing I want to talk about In the news, something that I was very excited to see, and I was very hopeful that this is going to happen sooner rather than later, and that is the women's mid card titles. We
Yeah.
they have been
Can,
teasing and teasing and teasing about these women mid card titles, and I'm like, stop with the teasing. Just tell us when they're dropping. That's it. That's all I want to know. When is it happening?
um, I just would like to take a moment for everyone who has requested these championships, for everyone who has fought to get these belts on TV, for everyone who has said, look at what's happening in NXT and how big of a star Kalani Jordan is becoming because of all of this, right? Um,
Mhm,
Thank you, okay?
mhm.
Because that fight allegedly has become successful. Belts are apparently in the works. Um, Leading forward, I'm assuming it'll be sometime in the near future. I'm betting it'll probably be after the new year, though. Maybe at Mania, for all we know.
Or
Um,
Raw
I
and
mean,
Netflix.
hell, make
Maybe
it at
Raw
elimin.
Netflix.
Maybe make it Elimination Chamber if you really want to go balls to the walls and have some cool stuff there. I don't really care when it happens as long as it happens soon. And I just vividly remember around Elimination Chamber last year ranting about the lack of a mid card women's championship, and so
I
just
mean, I feel
if you
like
want to
that's
watch
a.
that, go find it on the old videos on the Cup TV. Go look there and find that video there.
It's not
But
hard to find. Just look in our recap stuff. We
exactly.
have playlists for that. But I'm just saying, we've been ranting about this for a
Mhm.
long time. We want women's mid card championships because it's like the women's division don't have much to fight for, and they don't like putting them on the show if it's not a belt to fight for. So I'm like, well, then give them more belts to fight for if that's the only thing you want them to fight for.
Agreed. And the mid card belts are your workhorse belts. We don't need to see the world women's champion or the women's world champion and the women's WWE champion every week or every defended at every PLE. We need them to be a presence. We need them to know, like, it has to be rare. That's what makes them special. Like, you have to earn that match against them. But to have a workhorse belt, you could have the US title on the line every single week. You know what I mean? There could be an open challenge, and this would give a woman an opportunity to, show how dominant she is. It would give a woman an opportunity to challenge her on a regular basis. Someone can come up and they can instantly be put into the women's mid card, which elevates them. It gives hierarchy. Now
Mhm.
you have female main eventers and female mid carders.
It just makes sense. I feel like if we're going to do this and we're going to say we're trying to make the women's division just as big and just as successful as the men's division, then you need to give them the same opportunities. And they've been doing that with like the Rumbles. We got a women's Rumble. We got a women's Elimination Chamber. We got a women's Money in the Bank. Great. Now give them more belts. Let's have them so they can have the same amount, the same opportunities, like you said, Topher, to be the workhorse champions and the workhorse belts so they can go out and we can have those tiers and hierarchies of women's champions.
Well, important question here because I am genuinely curious. Okay, if you all had, let's say we're getting one on each show because sake of symmetry, um, who would be your pick on Raw and who would be your pick on SmackDown? Because I know who I would pick for both shows. The
Mm.
people I think that would be not only be able to be elevated to a main event level by having
Hmm.
these belts, or could be used as the person to prop someone else up into a bigger spotlight. Um, so for me, I feel like one of them on
Gotta
SmackDown,
be
it
Meechin for
has
me.
to be Michin.
I about to say, gotta be
Exactly.
Meechin. Gotta
Um,
be Meechin for
I
me.
think if she wasn't in a tag team, I could also see an argument for Candice LeRae. But I honestly think that Michin is just so good. That street fight she had with Nia Jax on SmackDown a few weeks ago, or a few months ago actually, was fantastic. And I wish they would give her that opportunity, that kind of opportunity more often.
Hmm.
On Raw, if it's not Natalia, I don't know what to do with her at this point in her
Right.
career. Um, I feel like if it's kind of like the idea of Seth Rollins being the first world heavyweight champ, right? Like it's a name that people are going to recognize. Natalia's been with the company for 16 years. Um, it just feels like maybe give her flowers this one last time if you're never going to give her another world title run, and be like, you're the
Mm-hmm.
first women's, I guess, intercontinental champion, because that would be on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Topher? What are you thinking?
I agree. I think that Natalia is a perfect first champion. I would also say what I think would be good, because it would elevate their faction, would be a Sonya Deville or not Sonya Deville, Sonya
Shayna Baszler. Or
Shayna
Zoe
Baszler.
Stark.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Shayna Baszler would be a great first champion. Because you have the ability now to craft a story around that. Imagine Imperium, but with Shayna Baszler.
Hmm.
You know,
So Shayna Baszler as the leader, and then
yes,
have Zoe and Sonya maybe go after the tag team champions, and then they can have a
correct.
faction of all gold. You have to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, we love it whenever we get a faction in gold.
We love a fashion dripping in gold. We
Right.
love it.
and it makes sense because Shayna Baszler does not have any business right now. Love her to death. I think she's a great talent. Being in the title picture of the world or women's WWE or women's world championship. She doesn't, you know what I mean? There's bigger stories involved there, but it makes her seem dominant, and it makes her seem like she has something for people to take from her, right? Like, come and get it. You can't. That's
And
why
I think
Shayna
I do
Baszler.
think that would be something to elevate her into that main event scene, where she can show her dominance as the Intercontinental Champion for women, the Women's Intercontinental Champion, and show that dominance, and then that can elevate her, like most Intercontinental Championships do for the men, elevate them into the World Heavyweight Championship status. So I'm like, I wouldn't mind seeing that either.
But yeah, especially when talking about Raw, I think there's a lot more open field there for me. I feel like there's definitely a lot more options there. If it ain't Michin, I don't know who the hell else it would be on SmackDown at this point. Like, because I mean, I could see a world where it's Naomi. I would
Mhm.
never complain about that. I think, now granted, should she be in the world title picture always? Yes. But in a world where Naomi's the first women's US or whatever we're calling this belt,
Mhm.
I would not complain. But I just feel like there's the opportunity to elevate Michin's stock more than anyone else on that show that could benefit from having, like, let's say a 7-month reign with this championship, establish herself as a threat. She beats everybody. She could beat a few former world champions in there too. And then she could drop the belt to, let's say, Roxanne Perez, maybe coming out of NXT. She could drop the belt to maybe post draft could drop the belt to like Lyra, somebody that's got enough of a name on the main roster that it doesn't hurt her stock. And then she could elevate herself into a world title feud with whoever's the women's champion, Jade Cargill, after WrestleMania. So
Mhm.
that's just me.
And that's how a mid-card championship is set to work. Because the problem that I feel like they've had is that your tag titles are great, right? The concept of them. The problem is you also need a women's tag division, which means if you're not a women main eventer, you need to form a tag team, which means you have to be involved in a put together tag team and then have a feud. Whereas being a tag team should be a step into the world that you then break out of, as opposed to coming together to be a part of. It's just this would help. This is going to help the women's division tremendously. And I think more so it's going to help with creating stories that elevate women to then get the champ. It's going to make the world and WWE championship that much more important. And that I'm here for, because having a flavor of the month challenger just because you're in a local region or something of that nature, like they often do, where it's like, oh, all of a sudden this woman is competing for the women's world championship, even though she's not really had any other airtime prior to, and then she just completely disappears right afterwards, like a Zelina Vega. You know what I mean? It's like, what are we doing?
And I know how you said Zelina Vega, but like, you know who crossed my mind when you said that to me? Because she used to be like the face of doing this. Tamina, right? Somebody would become the world champion, right? And let's say they beat somebody who had been champ for a while. Let's think like Paige, right? Paige wins the Divas title off AJ. Her first feud after she wins the belt, what AJ's taking time off, was Tamina. Okay, Bailey retains the women's title at WrestleMania in that six woman elimination match, right? Who was her first feud after WrestleMania? Tamina. And like, it just kept going. Like, that was just what happened. It kept going, it kept going, it kept going, to the point where Tamina's stalk, no one ever believed her, because even though she was getting these world title feuds occasionally, right, they never believed in her enough to pull the trigger on her one time. So we never believed in her either. And again, I love Tamina. I am a big fan of Tamina. Nobody is meaner than Tamina, but I feel like a women's mid-card title, if it would have been around at that time, could have been used to make us believe in her, right? Make her this credible challenger. Think about somebody like LA Knight. After he wins the US title, where does he go? Hopefully up, right? I don't see a world right now where there's a way that after you lose the women's tag belts, you go up, unless your name is somebody who's already in the main event scene. Unless you're like Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, who have the belts right now, and the two of them are going to be feuding for a women's title going into WrestleMania in my world. So,
and they're already upper echelon women's main eventers. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing, is you have to build stars, and that's where WWE is failing, is you have to build a women star, because I need to have a woman that I care about finally getting her. Like, you can't, like, at this point, if like the Royal Rumble was tomorrow, without a mid card, who are you going to give the Royal Rumble win to that is going to help elevate somebody into that next level? You know what I mean? That you're like, oh my God, and I'm so excited. Now it's a dream match. We've had this champion who's really solid for so long, and now we have this underdog who deserves their opportunity. They've been in the mid card, and now they're facing for the world title. Like, that means something.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Agreed.
They try to do it with, like, say WrestleMania 39 with like Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, where it's like, it's great, it's a dream match, it's there, but like Rhea Ripley's already been world champion. You know what I mean? It wasn't like she was winning her first one, and this will help make that more important, I think.
Which is why Liv Morgan should have not won the world title after she won Money in the Bank, but that's just me. And again, as the Liv Morgan stan, I know that's a hot ass take, but whatever. But like, this entire idea is something that the women's division desperately needs right now. Because Lord knows you're not going to give the women many more storylines outside of it unless you have more belts on the line, and you have to book them. So give them something.
Absolutely.
And as history has shown us, especially considering that SmackDown's about to be 3 hours in the very near future, right? Raw's going to stay 3 hours when it goes to Netflix. You have no excuse anymore, WWE, to not book these women on these shows. Okay?
Absolutely.
And you also have no excuse not to give me Evolution 2 in the near future. That's next. That's next on my list. But keep giving the women opportunities. Let me have a Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill main event at WrestleMania next year, and we're set. And we're golden.
Well, let's get into SmackDown, because it is time for some SmackDown to happen. And I will say this week's SmackDown was very impressive. I was very happy with SmackDown. I was very excited to watch SmackDown, and it did not disappoint. We had LA Knight versus Apollo. Okay. Andrade. I don't know why I was about to say Apollo Crews when it was Andrade, right? Yeah.
Did have a match.
He did have a match, but
with Giovanni Vinci.
I'm about to say it wasn't LA Knight. I was about to say I knew that, but yeah, it was Giovanni Vinci. Okay, so LA Knight, Andrade for the U.S. Championship match. Now I'm like, this is going to be the main event match, right? Because it's the only championship.
Should have been,
but no, it wasn't. They had started off the show, and honestly, it was a great match. It was a really good match between Andrade and LA Knight. It was very high energy. They were going back and forth. At any point, it felt like either one of them could have won at some point. And I was like, please don't let it be no shenanigans. Nobody, interferes. I don't want that. We don't need that. Just let this match be a clean match. And I thought it was a good match. I was like, okay, the good back and forth, good technique, good spots that was happening. High energy throughout the whole match. But I mean, we knew LA Knight wasn't going to lose his belt right now. We don't usually have too many belt changes on SmackDown or any show up until
there's no way somebody that won a championship at SummerSlam would just lose it on a random
Right.
Raw or SmackDown.
It hadn't happened very often, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes belts can change hands on Raw or SmackDown. Sometimes it happens, and
Yeah,
I'm
well,
very happy. I'm very happy when it does. But um, LA Knight ends up winning, of course. Good
okay.
match.
I
And
want to ask a question. Okay, nothing to do with the actual match itself or the outcome or any of that, right? Can LA Knight like retire the spot where he tries to do the run and then jump onto the top rope? Because like when he hits it, it looks great, but he misses it like 60% of
a
the
lot
time.
more than he
Like
hits it. Yeah,
maybe he could do like something else, just
yeah.
something else, LA Knight.
Just
Um,
yeah.
something else. um, I will say the way they covered for it was really good. I thought they were just going to repeat the spot when Andrade pushed him off the rope. But no,
Hmm.
Andrade goes for a missile drop kick and eats it. Great. That bump looked like it hurt like a motherfucker, by the
Hmm.
way. But okay, he not only did he miss a missile drop kick, most of the time when they do the missile drop kick, they land in the push up position. No, Andrade just said, no, I'm taking a full ass back bump off the top rope going for this drop kick. Um, that wasn't even part of the script, mind you. But
Yeah.
sure, Jan.
I mean,
Um,
I felt like it was a lot of little mistakes here and there throughout this entire match because I felt like LA Knight almost dropped Andrade, and I was like, wait, that don't look like that was supposed to happen. But they he covered it, I guess. It was still a good match, just a little, little things you'd be like, ooh, that that don't look okay. All right. Fix it up. It's live TV, so what do you expect? Some mistakes
mhm.
will happen. And that's what it was. It was all right though. But we did you had something else.
I was gonna say I don't agree with that last sentiment. I thought this match was incredible.
I thought it was good,
Um,
but it was some mistakes. We can't not say it was no
no,
mistakes in this
I
match.
mean, I literally called out what I find to be the biggest mistake of the whole match. But
You didn't think LA Knight was about to drop Andrade when was trying to do that power up thingy?
no,
Oh
I,
my
I think
gosh.
he was selling a little bit, but maybe I'm
No,
wrong.
he almost dropped that
You,
man.
Whatever, but he didn't.
you
But
have
he
to
didn't.
be. It's got to be imperfect. Otherwise, it looks too choreographed. It's too much of a dance. If it doesn't have, you have to have these little mistakes.
Mhm.
I don't mind the mistakes. It just looked like he made the mistake. If you gonna have the mistakes, make it don't look like you
Mhm.
made the mistake. It was just like, oh,
This is
it
my
just.
favorite match LA Knight has had since he came on the main roster.
I mean, it was a
Personally.
good match. It was. There is nothing wrong with imperfections. Imperfections make things better because if it looked too perfect, then we'll be like, oh, it just looks choreographed. It looks like they planned everything. I
Mhm.
don't mind the imperfections, but we do have to acknowledge that they were imperfections going on.
Oh, sure.
But yeah,
True.
that was fine. But it was a great match. I thought it was a really good match. I would honestly rate it very high amongst the matches that of the night. I would probably put it one of the best matches of the night, in my opinion. But then we did see backstage where Jacob and where the bloodline was coming in, and Jacob Fatu was beating up the security because they decided to pat him down, and he was in a very bad mood because of what happened last week. It's like, anybody else want to pat me down? The security guard was like, nope, nope, nope.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't blame you. I ain't touching him. That man's crazy. Uh,
Love the werewolf.
love him. I am a
Best part of
fan.
this new bloodline.
I am a
Mhm.
fan of Jacob Fatu,
He's
and it just only gets better and better every single week.
he's crazy.
Wild. He is
Mhm.
wild and unpredictable, and I love it. I'm here for it. Then we get Apollo Cruz and Giovanni Vinci. I kind of like this new slash old version of Giovanni Vinci because this is the version that was in NXT. But I kind of like this version of Giovanni Vinci. But I want them to not do him like this. Don't keep doing him like this. I don't like them doing him like. Now I like Apollo Cruz, and I want Apollo Cruz to get wins too because I feel like he should be getting wins too. But don't keep doing Giovanni like this. You bring him out on TV. He finally gets back on TV, and y'all just, oh,
I
no.
just all I'm gonna say is this: I don't know who Giovanni Vinci pissed off, I don't know which of the higher ups, his wives he slept with or something. Like, I don't know. All I'm gonna say is this. I
Oh,
think you punished the guy enough. Okay, you
look,
kicked him out of Imperium. You sent him to SmackDown. You let him lose in like 10 seconds in his
10
first match.
seconds.
Like, give him a win. Or
Ma-
if you're not gonna give him a win, at least let him like
Look
look
like he could do
good.
something.
Yeah, because like Apollo Crews, right? No shade to Apollo Crews. I'm a very big fan of Apollo Crews, former U.S. IC champion Apollo Crews. He's great, but he ain't got a name much anymore in terms of like this is a man that I get wins very often, right? Now, if we are elevating the stock of Apollo Crews, I will not complain. I think that is a great decision, WWE. You don't do it by having him take 2 wins off of a guy that hasn't got a pin in ages, that was
right.
off TV for multiple months, that hadn't been on TV since May when he got the shit beat out of him and kicked out of him. No, sorry, April when he got the shit kicked out of him and got himself kicked out of Imperium. So, like, I don't see how this benefits either man.
Nope,
And that's what
it
bums
doesn't.
me out. Because, great, Apollo's getting wins, but they're not quality wins. It's like jobber wins, kind of. And
Hmm.
then and then on the flip side of that, Giovanni had the opportunity to be seen as a bigger deal by coming in, beating the crap out of Apollo Crews and leaving. But instead, he's losing to Apollo Crews. This doesn't give me hope in either of them right now.
I trust the long-term booking.
Hmm.
That's all I'm going to say. I trust the long-term booking.
I don't have any choice but to trust the long-term booking at this point because it's like I don't see the vision. Me personally, I'm not seeing the vision for either of them. So I just got to throw my hands up and be like, "All right, y'all do it. We go watch it." But just know if these are the matches that we're going to get, that's going to be the time I go run to the bathroom and I'll be right back
Yeah.
because this is
Mm-hmm.
it's not quality and it's not entertaining me. Or that's the time I pick up my iPad and start playing the game through those matches. You know what I'm saying? Because those just don't seem to want. It just it doesn't. It doesn't entertain me. It wasn't that great. Um, and I'm gonna go into this next match because I won't say what I want to say for last. But this match, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton against Bayley and Naomi. The stakes were if Naomi and Bayley win this match, whoever gives the pin gets to have the number one contendership. Will have a match against Nia Jax for the belt. And if Tiffany and Nia wins, whoever takes the pin has to leave SmackDown forever. Just has to leave. So I'm like, okay. They are not about to get rid of Bayley or Naomi off of SmackDown at this point. Not happening. So I kind of figured they would win. How they would win was what I was trying to see. And this was I'm just gonna say this. I was a little annoyed with this match.
A little.
I was a lot annoyed with this match. I was a lot annoyed with this match. I was annoyed because it felt like number one, they just didn't want to say which one they wanted to fight Nia. It was like, well, we don't know which one we want to fight. I don't know how we're gonna do it. And it felt like a waste of time for me. It felt like you could have just said, hey y'all, this is what we go do. You want the belt and you want the belt. Let's just have a triple threat match. Why don't we just say that? That's what you want to do. But then you go through all these schematics and dramatics and blah blah blah. And for me, watching the match, Naomi got the pin. Bayley just happened to scoot up and put her hand on it to actually join in the pin because Naomi did the flip, held Nia down, and Bayley put her hand across Nia. I was like, that ain't getting the pin. You just walk. It just, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And then for them to be like, oh, well, what we'll do is y'all fight next week, and then whoever wins this fight will go.
Can I
That wasn't the whole point of all of this. I just thought the match was sloppy. I thought the match was a little messy. I thought the match was a little. I wasn't entertained by this match, and I hated the way this outcome played out. It just wasn't right, and I felt like they could have did better to rectify this situation.
The ending sucked. Bailey should have taken a pin and got sent to Raw and done stuff over there. I don't think there is anything left for Bailey to do on SmackDown right now. I think she is going to be lost in the shuffle. And I think there is. And if you didn't want to send Bailey to Raw, you had a better chance of just letting Naomi get the pin and have a title match at Bad Blood. WWE, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Um, let Naomi get a win. Who'd have thunk that was a thing we could do in 2024? Um, sorry, a win without having Jade and Bianca on her team. So, so let Naomi get this title match. It's probably going to be a triple threat. We all know it's pretty much going to be a triple threat. But like, this just was a weird way to go about it, especially because people were kind of intrigued by this stipulation to begin
Yep.
with, and thought, oh, there's a possibility that one of them is going to get sent to Raw. I think if Bailey took this pin here, I think it was a really interesting area of where we were going to go on SmackDown after this.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not as interesting, and it's just going to be a boring triple threat. It's probably going to end with Tiffany Stratton trying to cash in again and not, or cashing in and losing, or cashing in and turning on Nia way too early. So
They need to hold Tiffany. Tiffany just needs to hold it steady.
It's just, it was very frustrating to watch this match, and it's frustrating to hear the whole reasonings of how we're going to rectify this situation. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Mood.
I'm moving on. Street Profits, Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. I love the Street Profits. I love Kevin Owens. I like Jacob Fatu.
The correct answers.
And I'm growing to enjoy the Tongas. But
not a correct answer.
I'm gonna say I'm growing. Give me
okay. That's
just the idea that there is a like of the Tongans.
Because I'm a bloodline girly. I have to in my spirit, my bloodline heart is saying I must like everything about the bloodline. But my heart is is battling with my brain, who's like, but you don't really like them that much. They're not doing much for me yet. It's not connecting yet. My heart and head aren't there. My heart and head is there for Jacob Fatu. They're like, we love him. We enjoy him. I want him and Roman in a ring together, just going at it. I just want to see it happening. But my head is just not there with the Tongas yet. But I feel like it can. I don't hate them. I'm just not connected. But this match, man, I feel like it should have been the beginning match. I feel like they should have swapped places and let LA Knight and Andrade be the main event for the night, because it didn't end how it started. Like, I'm a very firm believer in it's not the way it starts, it's how you end the whole thing. And if you start the show great and end the show on a meh note, that's how people are going to remember the show. So you have to start it and end it with the bang. Give your bangers at the end. If you went, and it was okay. It was okay. We had some good high flying moments from Montez. Absolutely, he go give it to you. We had some great moments with Kevin and with oh gosh, why can't I think of his name?
Angelo.
Yes, Angelo Dawkins. Period. Powerhouse. We had some great moments with them. We had some great moments with the Bloodline, and they doing their thing, and it was back and forth. It was nice. It was fun to see. But in the end, it was just everything we've already seen. Everything we've already seen with the Bloodline. And of course the Bloodline was going to win because it was no contest. It was really nothing. Nothing happened. We had nothing. We didn't get nothing. We got no results. It was just a no contest. And I'm like, why did we spend all this time watching all this for a no contest? I don't.
So I expect multi-tag matches to end on a SmackDown.
Just no contest. And I'm like, well, all right, sure.
I just why?
Why?
I don't care. I'm sorry, but like this whole Roman, Cody, Jacob stuff right there, that's so much more interesting than anything else you are going to be doing with the Bloodline right now, to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, the Tongans should not be the tag champs right now. It should still be DIY because the tag belts would feel meaningful, right? Them having the tag belts is devaluing the tag belts. Secondly, the Street Profits just like, why are they involved? Granted, they
Well,
had a tag title match recently. I get it. I understand. But like, why are they helping Kevin Owens? That doesn't really make any sense with anything established for those characters. And then Kevin Owens, I get why he's involved. Him and Cody are friends, in canon. They've been doing their thing lately. We know he has established issues with Roman, like we get it. But like, it just feels so secondary to everything else going on here that none of this felt important enough to even happen, much less be the main event. Like,
right.
let me have a U.S. title main event, please, and thanks. Thank you. Like, I don't. Why not?
I agree.
Now let's talk about the big moment of the show for me. The moment that I want to talk about, the moment that I've watched maybe embarrassing amount of times this weekend, maybe way too much. And that is what, in my opinion, one of the best promos cut that I've ever seen in a long time, in a very long time, between Roman and Cody in the middle of Georgia Tech's football field. The cinematography of this promo was everything for me. You don't have to like them. You ain't got to like the bloodline. You ain't got to be interested in the story, but you can't tell me that that was not one of the greatest promos we have seen in a very long time. Roman Reigns rolling up to Georgia Tech's football stadium, 7 cars deep for some reason, like he is the president, comes into the stadium, gets out. Cody drives up in his one car, comes out, walks, they meet at the 50-yard line, and it was just so good. I watched it way too many times. I'm probably embarrassed to say how many times, if the number can. It was so good. It was so good.
This is how wrestling segments should be, like, going forward. Any segment that is not going to be in the ring, I would rather this than, like, it elevates it. This was like watching a trailer for a Fast and the Furious movie, right? Like, it was a little too melodramatic. I think they could have done a little bit better on their music choice, but outside of that, like, this is good. This was acting. This was cinema.
It was fine.
I knew you would come and bring. I knew you
I'm
would
kidding,
come
I'm
bring
kidding,
down the
I'm
mood.
kidding.
I
Of
knew
course,
you would
kidding.
bring down the mood.
I'm kidding. I really enjoyed it. I think it was one of the better promos of the year. I don't want to say it's like an all-timer for me because I'm not gonna lie and say that, but I think it was really good. I don't think it did anything for me to like further like explain the relationship of Cody and Roman. I've had 2 years to know the relationship of Cody and Roman. I think I got it at this point, but I will say it added more depth to Roman's character than it did to anything else here. And I think that was important because for so long it's just I am the tribal chief, acknowledge your tribal chief, etc. And that's not a Roman problem, that's a booking problem, right? But this was like, it kind of made me feel like he needs this. It's not that he wants it and he thinks he deserves it. He needs it. And I think that was what made me connect with him a little bit more than I have. In all honesty, I got nothing from Cody here, but I think the two of them together balanced each other out enough to make this promo really good.
I mean, I feel like it made us see that side of Roman because Roman is still trying to figure out who he is if he's not the tribal chief.
Right.
Mhm.
Who's Roman Reigns not being the champion? Who's Roman Reigns not the tribal chief on top? And I think for Cody, this was Cody establishing to Roman, I told you this. I told you everything that was going to happen to you. You are going to be a chief without a tribe. You are going to be the big dog in the yard, but don't have a championship. You going to be standing here alone, and you are here by yourself because you don't know how to treat people. You don't know how to act with people. This was Cody's like, I told you this because I was going to make it happen to you, and I did what I said I was going to do. This is Cody trying to establish himself as the man to the man who was the man before him. And Cody still got a long way to go before he can really compare, I guess, statistically to what Roman did. But he is like, you have nothing. I don't know. You can say you the big dog. You can say you all of this, but you have no tribe to be the tribal chief over. You have no belt. This is my house. I'm the face of the company now. You gonna have to learn to live with that. So I enjoyed that
This
standoff.
is getting us to heal Cody,
Mhm.
and I love that you're in my way.
Right.
In life.
In life.
Like,
I feel like it's establishing as much as we say we don't want a long-term feud with Cody and Roman, it's just putting them in a place where if they ever needed to go back to that feud, not saying that they are, and this is going to be something we see for every time they get together, but it's establishing where if they ever need to go back to that feud, they can, because in life, you are in my way. That means our paths will always seem to connect. I'm not mad at it. I thought it was
like this from a production standpoint. This and the Punk promo, what they did with that, like they're experimenting in ways of like we all understand that like wrestling is a work and it's a TV show. So why not present it as such? You know what I mean? Like, give us a little bit of that. It's actually a little bit Lucha Underground-esque, you know?
Topher, you're speaking my language.
So
Topher.
that's and I think that is the future of wrestling. I think that's how, because then people aren't going to be like, wrestling, that's that fake stuff, right? Like you know, you don't say that about like any other form of entertainment, right? Like, oh yeah, that's the thing, that's not real. Like yeah, none of it's real. It's on television,
right?
You know, and I really think that this is what brings wrestling to the next level. This is what brings in the mainstream. Like that was that because you could show that clip to a non-wrestling fan and they would be like, what are we watching? Which actually happened this weekend.
What movie is this? Like,
yes, that's what it was. I was there was a cookout this weekend at my house, and it was on the screen, and my roommate's girlfriend was like, "Oh, what is this?" And I was like, "It's wrestling, actually," because I was just watching the YouTube clip. So,
I also want to specifically say I like that they chose to fly both Roman and Cody out to Georgia Tech. I think that was a great decision.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, the presentation obviously was really cool. I think that was awesome. But specifically the choice to not only make it this really unique presentation, but go to Georgia, right?
Where both of them have stakes there.
But you both have attachment there.
They have stakes there. Yep.
And it makes sense. And also, not even to mention, Bad Blood is going to be there too.
Yes.
So you have all of this stuff together. I think that was a great decision. I don't know whose idea that was.
They deserve a raise.
Cody, Roman, Gregory Helms. I don't know whoever's idea it was, but whoever's idea this was, props. You did the damn thing. Thank you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I was just gonna round up this. If you have something else, but go ahead. I was gonna let you go ahead.
It was the way they framed it, and was like, Roman was like, this is my field. Everything you see is mine. And then Cody's like, yeah, this is your field. This is your stadium, but this is my home. I was at this place down the street. I was at the Omni Theater before, the Omni Arena before it was the State Farm Arena. This is my house. This is my home. And it's like, we both have stakes here. We both have roots here. we both have places where people will say this is the house that the Rose built, or this is the house that Roman built. Like, it's just, like that's kind of stuff is, oof, love it. I can eat it up all day.
Yeah.
All right. You like it too. Love it.
See, he's like, I'm here for the big dog.
The
But
big
like,
dogs, period.
Sorry, Topher. I had to make a joke. It felt perfect. But beside the point, on the whole, I think SmackDown was quite enjoyable this week.
Mhm.
I think there were some booking decisions that made me a little irritated, but otherwise, a solid B+ edition of SmackDown.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. But
Um,
we move.
So something I forgot to put in our little news listing that I had seen right before we started recording. We had an update today about WWE 2K, which is something that I'm pretty much the only one here that cares about, but it is something to talk about. WWE 2K will be a free game of the month for PlayStation Plus subscribers next month, which is a huge deal. Not only is this going to get way more people into this game and could possibly drum up sales for 2K25 next year if people like it, but also there are only 3 of these free games a month, right? And if you get them all for free, you might as well buy them. And I think a lot of people are going to buy this game, look at it, and if they are willing to go over, it's a WWE game, and they give it a shot, I think this could be a way that a lot of new people come into the wrestling fandom in general. I'm not saying it's going to magically turn the WWE back into Attitude Era viewership numbers or anything, but I think it's going to, it has the opportunity to boost the numbers here in a way that we haven't really seen recently. Because it happened to AEW, because AEW Fight Forever was a free game on PlayStation Plus at, I think, the beginning of the year or at the end of last year. And guess what? Their viewership numbers went up for a time. So, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be anything long-term, but I think it's a really interesting idea. And I'm really excited to see it happen, especially considering we just had a really good DLC pack come out with like Kairi Sane and Lyra Valkyria and Jade Cargill and a bunch of other people in it that I think is really going to help sell this game in general. So I'm excited. I'm happy about it.
Or,
Good.
It was
anything
just
that
a-
brings
it
eyes,
was a-
anything that brings eyes to WWE, because two things
Right.
are going to do it: the free 2K game and the Vince McMahon documentary.
yeah.
I was hoping we could like not talk about that today. I don't want to give that man a platform.
Look,
Glossing over
it's
it.
wrestling news, but
Um, what else is wrestling news? We have more wrestling news.
Yes.
Okay, so wrestling news. Contract news. Big contract news. It is official. It has been confirmed. The Lucha Brothers, aka Penta El Miedo and Rey Fenix, will be coming to WWE. Contracted, signed, sealed, delivered. Is happening. And they're going straight to the main roster. If nothing can make Triple H care about the tag division, it better be this. Like, I don't know what else it could be at this point.
And the Lucha Bros are AEW.
Everywhere. Everywhere. So originally AAA, then they were both in Lucha Underground. Both are former Lucha Underground champions, I might add. Specifically, Penta was a very long reigning Lucha Underground champion, I might add. They were basically some of the foundational performers in that promotion in general. They had a brief stop in TNA a few years ago. Penta won the Impact World title back when that was the name of that belt, for a cup of coffee. And then they have both been in AEW since the founding of the promotion, multiple-time AEW tag champs. Phoenix won the Continental Championship, I want to say. I think it was the Continental Championship. No, wait. That's not true. It was the International Championship. He won the International Championship in AEW as well. They are all three. They are both former trios champions with Pac, aka Neville. So lots of happiness here. These two are, in my opinion, two of the best workers in the world, much less in AEW. this is going to be a massive boon to WWE in general, much less to the tag division, which, dear God, the tag division needs something to put eyes on it. This is probably the biggest signing for WWE since, honestly, even bigger than Cody. Like, this is a bigger deal than Cody coming to the company to me. I'd say probably the biggest signing since CM Punk coming back maybe, but like even then, I'm not even going to count that. Like, this is one of the biggest news. AJ Styles. This is the biggest signing they've had since AJ Styles in terms of people who've never been in the company before.
So independent wrestlers coming in to WWE. This is their shot at the big leagues. This would be like getting Kenny Omega if he were to ever have the courage.
Honestly, this is okay. If he got over his diverticulitis and could actually work in the ring again, yes.
That's true. Poor Kenny Omega.
God, I hope he gets better soon. He's been out for a while, but beside the point. Good. We're wishing you well, Kenny. But this is a huge deal. I cannot wait for them to come into this company and for you both to begin standing them like everyone on this planet does. That's watch them compete. I will again repeat, go watch their stuff in Lucha Underground, go watch their stuff in AEW. Just go watch them. You're going to be very happy whenever they inevitably show up, and it's going to be great. I am very excited.
Mm-hmm.
Raw. Let's talk about
Raw. So I'm just going to start by saying this was on the whole, a very good edition of Monday Night Raw. However, there was one specific thing that drove me up the wall, and we're going to talk about it very shortly. So we open with a very happy moment for me with more Dominic and Liv. Always down to see that. Standard Dominic and Liv promo heel here. We get a Rhea interruption, yada yada. Rhea's cleared, cool. We knew she was going to be fighting at Bad Blood anyway, cool. Dominic Mysterio will be in a shark cage at Bad Blood. Well, it's been a few years since we've had the shark cage. It was about time for it again, I suppose. How do you two feel about this? Because I feel like it makes the match more predictable.
You just put him in a cage. James Ellsworth, Paul Bearer, Paul Heyman, China,
Enzo Amore,
all famously have been inside of shark cages. All famously have managed to get themselves out of said shark cages.
And all famously helped their person win the match in some respect. Like, I don't think I have ever seen the face win a shark cage match. Right? Maybe it's just me, because it's always a heel in the shark cage. It's never a face. And then when they're in the shark cage, they always find some way to get everything to work out. To me, this just makes it very clear that Liv's retaining on next Saturday. I don't think it was the best call for this match. I don't think it needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just makes room for, if Dom is in the cage, the rest of the Judgment Day come out and they're gonna help, and then they're gonna bring him down, and it's not going to end in Liv's favor. I mean, in Rhea's favor. I don't think. I would. Me personally, I would. Sure, I wouldn't mind if it ended in Rhea's favor. Let her get the belt back. I know all the Liv fans want Liv to keep the belt. I think Liv is a great champion. I think her keeping the belt is not the worst thing in the world for me. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I would be more happier with Rhea with the belt. But that's just my personal opinion. I'm a Rhea girl. That's fine. She'll get it back eventually, but whatever.
See, for me, I'm hoping this is the time where they don't do the whole Dominic gets out of the cage or drops Liv a pair of brass knuckles or whatever thing. And this is when Raquel Rodriguez comes back and does her thing and sides with the Judgment Day. I think that would be very nice, and I would very much appreciate that. But I hope that this match is not as predictable as I think it is, even though I want Liv to win still. And I'm really excited for it. So we then go into Sami Zayn versus Ludwig Kaiser. Great match, very entertaining. Loved it. Zayn wins. Duh. We then get one of my favorite moments of the entire night, which is Gunther coming out, teasing that he's going to accept Zayn's challenge, and then just going, no, and walking away. And not only did he come out and accept the challenge, he was in his ring gear. Man did not wrestle on this show, but he decided to be an even bigger troll. Like, I don't know who has let Gunther cook on the mic lately, but whoever it is, they are my friend, and I am very happy about it. So yeah, great stuff there. How are you all feeling about that? Just curious, this feud.
It's fine. It's whatever. It eventually will happen when it happens. I think Gunther's being a great troll right now, but eventually Sammy's gonna do something or say something that really gets to Gunther, and he could be like, "Fine, fine, I'll accept." And he still holds on to the belt. Sammy's not winning.
Yeah, Gunther's got to get his win back, and I think that Gunther gets his win back over Sammy whenever it happens. But I do think it's going to be exciting because we know that Sammy can beat Gunther, whereas everybody else can't beat Gunther.
Mm-hmm. So we then get Dragon Lee versus Carlito, continuing this LWO Judgment Day shit for the 900th time. I'm so beyond over it. The only thing I loved here was Dragon Lee's ring gear, which was really cool. But Dragon Lee wins. Good. Let this man get a win, thank God. But like, can we stop? Please stop. So we were advertised to get The Miz versus Bronson Reed, and instead we get the best part of the show, which was Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman continuing to beat their shit out of each other. They have done it. They have made me like both of these men. I can't explain it, but it works. It's so cool.
Last Monster Standing.
Yeah, next week we're getting Last Monster Standing. They have found a way to make me interested in a last man standing match. So good job, WWE.
I think they could have put it Bad Blood though. I was like, they could have put that in Bad Blood. That would have been amazing. But whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna call it now. I'm calling it now. This match is gonna end with them doing the ring break suplex. Like the ring's gonna collapse.
The ring's gonna collapse. And, that's probably why they couldn't do it.
What if the whole stage collapses and this is an excuse to give us a new Raw set?
With the Raw fist. I'm kidding.
Not the Raw fist.
I know that was the SmackDown thing.
That was the SmackDown fist.
SmackDown.
Yeah. And also, I think the really interesting part here is that we had this Miz, Karrion Kross stuff going on backstage. Mm-hmm. He's trying to bring basically it's Karrion Kross doing what Karrion Kross has done to everybody for the past year and a half. But like, he's done it successfully to everybody else. So why not do it to Miz too? Cool. I feel bad for Miz. I wish he could have actually had a match on this card because he's great.
I think he's gonna go places with Karrion Kross, though.
I do too. I
kind of want him with. He's in a thrown together tag team.
Well, where's R-Truth? What happened to him?
Well, that's the reason Karrion is doing that, because R-Truth was bringing him down, and he can't. He deserves better. So I think that's why Karrion Kross is doing that to the Miz, so he can move away from R-Truth.
Mm-hmm. So we then get a Drew McIntyre promo on CM Punk. It was pretty much the exact same promo we have heard from Drew McIntyre.
Right. I was like,
again,
same thing.
It was still good. But you didn't miss anything from the last promo if you watched it. So we then get Adam Pearce talking about the last man standing match. But the important part here is that Pete Dunne was beating the crap out of Sheamus, and he hit him with a cricket bat. Yay, more Pete Dunne on TV. Yay, more Pete Dunne on TV. And I like that they're keeping the cricket bat, because that was how he won the match last week. Keep the cricket bat. This works with him. I think this is a unique idea.
Don't call him Butch. That's all I'm saying.
So, Damage Control versus the Unholy Union of Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. I'm wondering what happened to Blair Davenport. But Kyrie and Io get a win. Kyrie hitting a really cool insane elbow to the floor near the end of the match. That was great. Once again, the over the moonsault never ceases to impress me. This entire match, it was a women's tag match, which means it was good, but not given enough time to be great.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, we're speeding through this, y'all. Sorry. There's just not much to talk about in these matches. It's all pretty much exactly what you'd expect from what we got. This is my favorite part of the entire show, outside of like my favorite match on the show. You had the New Day taking on the Creeds of American Made, a sensational tag match that
Really
again
good match.
deserved more time.
Definitely.
We then get Woods beating the crap out of Chad Gable in the center, in the corner of the ring, after Chad's interfering and all this other crazy stuff. And we get Woods had been preaching backstage about keeping their focus and not losing their cool. He loses his cool, and it costs him the match. He gets hit by a Brutus Ball, American Made with a win over the New Day here. You can't do it to me, WWE. Don't you dare break up the New Day.
They breaking them up.
I am all here for the Xavier Woods heel turn, because maybe Kofi turns heel with him.
I think Kofi should turn heel and not Xavier, but beside the point. We're going to talk about it more in just a second when we go to the backstage area where Woods and Kofi are talking. And then Rey Mysterio and the LWO show up. Y'all, do you know, Ray, I know you've been in this business for a long time. Did you lose the skill of timing? Because Ray's trying to apologize for last week. What's his mad, man? Just give him a break. Give him a few minutes. Let him chill out. But instead, because Ray doesn't know how to shut the fuck up, Xavier Woods politely tells him to F off, pretty much. It then goes into Woods saying that Ray doesn't have time for him because he isn't a former world champion. And that's why Ray's focused on Finn Balor. Dear Lord, Vindicated Heel Xavier Woods is going to be so good. But regardless, Xavier Woods, once again, being one of the best parts of WWE programming, like he has been for the past, 15 years. So good on you, mate, on that one.
And he's got a match next week. He's
going
to fight Ray.
Fighting Ray next week. Kofi has a match next week. I don't remember against who, but he has a match next week as well. So we then go to the most important part of this show. Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship in the main event of Raw. Awesome.
Yeet.
Good stuff. This is where you put your main mid-card title matches, WWE, when it's the only one on the card, in the main event. Do it on SmackDown 2 next time. Thank you.
Period.
An incredible match. One of the best matches on Raw we have had in a long time. Okay, Lana, let me ask you a question. Okay. I know that you have said you were not a Braun Breaker fan. Okay. Did he not do really good in this match, though?
He did well. I never doubted his talent. That's the thing. I have never doubted that man's talent. He is very talented. He is going to be one of the biggest stars in the WWE in the near future. He is going to be a heavyweight, a world champion soon enough. Like, I know that. Never doubted his talent. I'm just not buying him as a character right now. I'm not buying him. I think, like, the fact I just don't like the fact that he came in here telling us I'm owed something and I deserve this. You've been here for less than a year. What are you talking about? You are owed anything. And it's people like Jey Uso who've been here 14 years, and this is his first time getting this. Well, first time ever. Well, it took him 6 times to get to in singles competition to get to the point where he is right now. I'm just like, you're owed nothing. You just sit back, relax, and keep doing what you're doing. Put your head down and get to work, son. And then I just didn't like his character, Mr. I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm old. I should have been here. I think
they're going to turn him face after this. I feel like they
Braun Breaker?
Yeah.
I
think he's going to be. I think he's going to be funny Gunther after the Sammy thing wraps up. Honestly.
Yeah.
Turn him into goofy face Braun Breaker like they had him in NXT before he called up. I liked that Braun Breaker. But we then get to one of the best near falls I have ever seen in the history of pro wrestling. Braun's bouncing off the ropes, going for this big spear. Jay clears him first, hits him with a spear of his own from a standing position, mind you. Goes to the top rope, hits the Uso splash. 1, 2, kick out right at the very last second. Braun Breaker went to the Roman Reigns School of Learning how to kick out at 2.99. We then get Braun taking control of the match, goes for the super spear. He's running around the outside of the ring, goes in, super kick. Beautiful super kick, by the way, once again from
Beautiful
Jay.
super
Thank you very
kick.
much. We then get a spear through the barricade
Yes.
from Jay to Braun. We then get a spear in the center of the ring. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I want Jay to win. I have wanted Jay to win in the IC title for months now, but I didn't think they were going to do it. Because if I have learned anything from WWE over the past my entire life, never expect nice things from this company. Okay, they will always find a way to let you down somehow. And then he hits the Uso splash, and then he wins the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeet.
Yeet!
Yeet. 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 I said it. I called it when he won the whole freaking tournament. I was like, Jay is winning. Jay is winning. Jay is winning this whole thing. And everybody said no. No, they're not going to take it off Braun this soon. No, they're not going to take it off Braun yet because he just got it. We're in the era of long title reigns. We're not taking it off of Braun, especially not for Jay Uso, because Jay Uso is not him. He ain't that guy. That's what so many people were saying. He's not that guy. He's not taking it off of Braun. And in my spirit, in my heart of hearts and guts of guts, I said he's taking it. This is his moment. And baby, when he did it, I screamed a scream that was so loud. I was so excited.
You screamed a scream that needed to be scrumped.
It had to be scrumped.
Oh. Yes. Topher, how you feeling about all this?
I love it. I think that Jey Uso is a well-deserved champion. I think that Jey Uso has earned every bit of it. I think the shock of it happening in this moment was huge. I think that it's a well-deserved. Only the second father-son combo to be Intercontinental champions, with Mr. Perfect and Curtis Axel being the first. So and it's great to actually see Jey Uso. Like, the Usos were great, right? Phenomenal, excellent tag teams, but you're only going to go so far as just a tag team. I think Jey Uso has elevated himself to a point where he is his own character. He has his own charisma. He deserves the spotlight, and this will truly catapult him to the main event, just like a mid-card championship should.
Do you want to know my hot take for this?
Sure.
I think this is a fantastic decision. I think Jay needs this belt, right? I do not want him to have it for long. Okay? We do not need Jey Uso being the Intercontinental Champion until WrestleMania, okay? No. Have this man drop this belt before the Royal Rumble, okay? Because he is a very real contender to win the Rumble this year. Yes. Okay? I think if you have Jey Uso win the IC title, maybe let him get screwed out of it by somebody. I don't know who. Somebody can screw him out of the IC title. Okay? Feud with them into the Royal Rumble, have a match out the card, wins that match, and then he wins the Rumble in the same night. Right? We then get Jey Uso versus Gunther at WrestleMania. I'm sad. I'm just saying, because their first few matches were really fucking good. And granted, I know that's a long shot win. I don't know who my pick to win the Rumble is as of this point. It could be pretty much anybody to me. I think Randy Orton is a real shot for that, honestly. But, I just think Jay has such a compelling case to win it this year. And if he did, I would be very happy, which means get the IC title belt off of him before December, and we're in a great spot, WWE.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, but sure, whatever.
Would you be happy if he won the Royal Rumble?
I mean,
Yes.
he can win the Royal Rumble, but why can't he win the Royal Rumble and have the IC championship?
He doesn't need both.
He can lose it after the Rumble. Why does he have to lose it before the Rumble? He can have the IC title, win the Rumble, lose the belt, and then go on to win the championship.
As long as him losing the belt doesn't involve Jimmy Uso.
I'm not trying to correct. I'm legitimate question here. Has anyone ever won the Royal Rumble as a champion in any respect?
Not that
I don't think so.
They have won the championship in the Rumble.
Yes,
but
Triple
never,
H and Vince McMahon. And
right,
Flair,
never had a championship and then won a Rumble holding or any championship. I don't think so.
Yeah. I didn't think so either. But I mean, hey, if it
Watch JB
happens,
the
cool,
first.
be cool. I don't think this is how they would do it, but if it's Jey Uso winning the Rumble this year, I'm happy no matter what. I just think it's more likely if he loses the IC title before the Rumble. Therefore, I want him to lose the belt soon-ish. Uh, but I am once again down since day one-ish, and I am very happy with
Yeah.
the Yeet Man being the new IC champ.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think on that note, we're going to wrap this up because I feel like that's all that needs to be said. We've been here long enough. Y'all heard us long enough. If you've been here and you like what you heard, what you need to do is hit the subscribe button and do all the things. Follow us. Go to the description below. Follow all of our other channels as well as our audio podcast links, our Patreons, our socials. Follow us. Do all the things. Get your cup merch as well because it's great. And we'll get out of here and see y'all next week. So cheers, y'all.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye. Yeah.
Night.
Yeet is all I have to say.
Obligatory Samantha Irvin shout out.
She ate it up. She ate it up.